Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're here with Shannon Salmon-Haas, who's got 4 names. She's an attorney. We went to law school together. She's a cultural icon here in San Antonio with a tremendous following on Instagram.
Está loco.
And Kathya Reppart, who's been telling us about her coffee business called Kilates Coffee. Go to kilatescoffee.com. That's KILATES coffee.com. And it's going to be more expensive than the stuff you buy at the grocery store in the big tub. But believe me and all of my staff, we've been trying it. And it's just so different from what you buy in the big box. It's just awesome. It's phenomenal.
Buy cheap paper towels, but do not buy cheap.
Even in my college years, I would save on everything but coffee. I always bought the good stuff. Again, it's like I think we all like good.
Well, I thought I was buying the good stuff. I had you try that coffee that is delivered to my office every month, and I have the great machine. And so I was bragging to Kathya that I have this premium coffee.
Right.
And so she tried it, and she didn't flex. She didn't brag.
Oh,
she
I
was
wish
just
I could have
like,
seen that.
well, this isn't really premium coffee. I'd like for you to try it.
But gut reaction, what were you thinking? This poor man. I have to help him.
Todd is just the sweetest, right? So he was, let me give you some coffee. You want to try my premium coffee? And I was like, of course. Like sometimes I get surprised. It's very little times, but I do get surprised with good coffee. And so when he brought it, I just tasted it, and I do this everywhere. I just tasted it, and then I just started pulling like this. And I continued my conversation
Even Mark is laughing. That was a good one.
She's like, I'm not going to drink any more of this.
But, I never like to offend people. And then you have to have some ethic, right? Instead of saying your coffee is not great, I rather say, do you want to try my coffee? Mm-hmm. Just to kind of open your world with it. Because I assure you, if you guys try the fruit fermentations, it creates a lot of reactions, because it's real coffee. That's the main issue. It's been responsibly, fair trade. It's
Please
organic.
talk about that, because Al, one of the other radio producers, was asking me about that, and I was looking up coffee law online, and I found this lawsuit of a consumer protection company or organization against Starbucks for wrongfully claiming that they practice ethically when buying coffee and sourcing coffee. So tell us exactly, what does that mean, and how can you really be sure?
Well, so in origin countries, right, which is in the American continent, at least I can only talk about the American continent because I still haven't tried or haven't sell any African coffee, right? But they have very strict law, and the reason why they have it is because they export all of their coffee. Guatemala, 83% of the coffee that is produced in Guatemala is exported all over the world. El Salvador, same. Colombia, same. And so now they're adding Peru, Ecuador, that they also produce some coffee. We have coffee from Honduras. I had this absolutely mind-blowing coffee from Honduras when we went to the World Coffee Conference back in May, I think it was. Oh my God. Imagine this. They poured me the cup, and I could smell it, and I thought it was my perfume.
Oh, wow.
It was just so the fragrant. It was just so strong and flowerish, and I love florals. So I even smell myself, to be sure, right? I was like, is it me?
Right.
It was the coffee. It sold for $140 a pound.
Wow.
$140 a pound. So all of the coffee, since it's gonna go in somewhere in the world, right? So they have very strict laws. You have to work really hard to get all your little certifications. They have different certifications. Organic, for example, is that I never went through the deep end of what it's like to create, to produce organic coffee. And in this conference that I attended, one coffee producer was explaining it, and I was like mind blown because it has almost no pesticide. They have to work the soil, add minerals, add all these layers of different things to make it 100% organic. And so they have to be FDA compliant, USDA compliant, so for all that you need to prepare, because they go and you get inspections.
Okay.
And so it is highly regulated when it's in origin, and everyone works really hard to get, and it's really expensive too. So that's why I feel that it's very important. And I see this happening a lot, that you buy coffee from, whatever appears on your phone, right? Like you don't even know where they come from. And they're selling, I don't like to say, I want to say economical coffee, and then selling you the same price as my coffee.
Oh, wow.
And that happens very frequently. Like, just imagine this. So I specialize in fermentations. What that is that all the coffee has extra processes. The extra processes, they are an investment for the producer, right? For what? So they can sell it for a better price. So when you're buying a wash coffee, which is the basic coffee that you see almost everywhere, it costs half the price of that, but you're still buying it for the same price of mine coffee.
Oh.
And so that's why you need to get a really good coffee company that and that they're doing the things that right.
Yeah. Well, this is our last segment, the fourth segment, and we like to talk about legacy because Marquardt Law Firm focuses on last wills, living trusts, tax-protected inheritance plans. So we want to learn more about your legacy.
And now it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Tell us about your grandmother.
So my grandmother was my role model. And so I thought a lot about the legacy, especially because in my women's group, my women's business group, we've been talking about legacy this week. So more than things, I think your legacy is what you leave behind you when you're no longer here, right? So what that is about is like, yes, of course, I have things that my grandma left, like her farm, which was lovely. But I think the most important legacy that she left was the hard work. She taught me to work hard for what I wanted.
Mine too.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end, it's not about the material things that you leave behind you. And that's why I support one of my, part of my vision as a person on this earth. God put me in the world with a purpose, is to help others. I come from a developing nation. I was lucky enough to get an education that coffee paid for. So this is ingrained in me. Coffee is not just my passion. It's been such an important part of my life.
So
I saw how, there's no access to education. There's no access to people like me who are going to bring this beautifully, produced coffees. I met with women in origin. And mostly I remember my grandma telling me there's no money in coffee because, if you don't specialize your coffee, you can't sell it at a good price. So it doesn't really pay to even maintain your farm.
Wow.
So what that does is that it forces women to sell their land because, it's not you can't monetize on it. Right? And so you need this education. And that's why I know there are companies out there and they're like, oh, we're going to donate $1 per bag to women in origin, and it's like I want to give them their dignity back, that they feel appreciated, and that they know that what they're doing counts.
Yeah.
You know, how do I do that? Paying fair prices for their coffee.
You just blew my mind. You're next level. Like,
Thank you.
So, what you said about your grandmother and about the way the coffee paid for your education reminded me of something my dad told me about his dad. My grandfather sat down the kids one time and said, y'all are privileged. You know, you've been given opportunities that people in other parts of this town don't have. So act like it.
Yeah, I feel like
So go out there and help people, like you were saying.
there's a commitment. Okay, there is a commitment to help others all the time. You can get anything you want in life if you will help others to achieve what they want. My commitment is not just me coming to tell you these things. My photographer, those beautiful pictures, she's a Salvadoran photographer that I hired.
Mm-hmm.
The bags are printed in Colombia. You know, we're doing this there's a lot of innovation on the things that we're doing. For coffee shops, we roast in origin so we can leave more money in origin. So my commitment is, because you also have to make coffee a business in origin. It can't only be a business here, right?
Right.
So I have a big commitment to that. I have a big commitment into champion women-produced coffees. Right now we have a geisha wash. It's a Carolina Reyes, is a producer from Colombia, you know? So I love this comparison about commitment. I'm here like the pig, not like the chicken. Like the hen is going to commit with an egg, right? The pig is giving the bacon, right? So my commitment is big. It's going to hit my bag because I want to hit their bag too, you know? Because it's easier to buy your bags from China, for example, you know?
Right.
I buy them from origin. I do my photography in origin. I try to work as much as I can in origin so that I can be helpful in the economy. I can create jobs in origin too. So I have my warehouse. It creates jobs for women. And that is so important because if there's no education, at least they need to learn, you know, that they can do something to bring food. Like there's people who literally, they don't have anything to eat.
That's when you blew my mind. You're not doing things the same old way and let's give 10%. You're doing things radically differently.
Exactly. It's dignifying, being like, okay, I have a purpose. I have the power to bring money into my house.
You also have ideas that others haven't thought of before.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Todd.
Well, that's all the time we have. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, go to kilatescoffee.com and always think about coffee needs to be brown.
And we also want to share it with our friends. See you later.
Bye.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.